Most people think of porn as a private habit, something you watch and forget. But what if it's not just digital content, but a powerful energetic influence that lingers in your field long after the screen goes dark? Ancient systems like Tantra, Taoism, and Egyptian mystery schools warned of this. Sexual energy isn't just pleasure, it's power. It's the fuel behind your creativity, your clarity, your spiritual drive. When you consume porn, you're not just watching, you're directing your energy outward into illusion. That act weakens your core. It splits your attention, drains your nervous system, and rewires your brain to seek instant stimulation instead of deep connection. And energetically, it creates holes in your aura, openings where anxiety, confusion, and spiritual fatigue seep in. Your sexual energy is sacred. It's not just about physical release. It's your root vibration, the raw frequency that grounds you into this reality. When porn becomes habitual, it hijacks that vibration. It replaces intimacy with performance, presence with projection. You begin to crave fantasy more than reality, and that distortion leaks into your relationships, your focus, and your sense of self. Spiritually, this is massive. Sexual energy is tied to your root and sacral chakras. When they're out of balance, you feel disconnected, unstable, anxious. You may try to meditate, journal, or do breath work, but the underlying leak remains. The screen becomes a subtle addiction, not just to images, but to the energetic pattern they trigger. And over time, this pattern lowers your entire vibrational field, leaving you fragmented and fatigued. This isn't just about the content, it's about the frequency. Porn carries a signature energy, fast, intense, disconnected. That frequency enters your system each time you engage, and over time it becomes normalized. You start vibrating at the speed of overstimulation. And here's the hidden danger. Your nervous system becomes addicted to chaos. Silence feels boring. Stillness feels empty. Real connection feels threatening. Ancient mystics knew this. They taught that sexual energy is a current that must be cultivated, not squandered. In practices like Tantra, celibacy wasn't repression, it was redirection. They preserved that energy, moved it upward through the chakras, and used it to unlock higher states of awareness. Porn reverses that flow. Instead of rising, your energy drains downward, leaking out through unconscious loops of craving and release. If this is making you rethink what you've been told, don't just watch. Subscribe now and take back the truths they've hidden from you. When you operate from depleted sexual energy, your manifestation power weakens. Why? Because manifestation isn't just mindset, it's magnetism, and sexual energy is your magnetic core. It's what draws people, ideas, and experiences into your field. But porn fractures that current. Instead of building internal pressure and focus, it scatters your energy outward, leaving you feeling empty after a high. That's not just emotional, that's vibrational. Many who struggle with depression or fatigue often unknowingly leak energy through this very habit. And the worst part? It feels normal. Because overstimulation has numbed your senses. Your nervous system doesn't register the leak as damage, it interprets it as relief. That's how the loop traps you, not through shame, but through false pleasure. You think you're in control, but energetically you're being drained. Most spiritual seekers think their problem is lack of discipline, but it's often energetic instability. When your vital energy is scattered through habits like porn, you lose the ability to center yourself. Even when you sit to meditate, the mind is restless, the body anxious. Why? Because porn trains your system to expect instant highs. It short-circuits the inner path. Ancient practices understood this. Why do you think monks practiced sexual restraint? It wasn't moral. It was magnetic. They knew that storing sexual energy built internal strength, clarity, and spiritual vision. Porn unplugs you from that current. It makes your aura unstable, your focus weak, your willpower brittle. And as this energetic baseline drops, you attract more of the same. Distraction, confusion, addiction. That's not a coincidence. It's a vibrational match. You don't just watch porn, you become entangled with its frequency. It lives in your field, reshaping your habits, your thoughts, your sense of spiritual identity. The good news? This energy drain can be reversed, but it requires conscious effort. First, you must reclaim your attention. Dopamine discipline is key here. Every time you resist the urge to escape into stimulation, you're not just avoiding relapse, you're restoring circuitry, you're recentering your field. Meditation helps, but only when it's embodied, not escapism. Try breath work, cold exposure, or focused movement to reconnect with your physical energy. The more grounded you become, the easier it gets to hold your sexual energy without leaking it. This builds magnetic presence. You stop chasing and instead start attracting. Your aura begins to repair itself, becoming tighter, brighter, more cohesive. People notice. Your mind feels sharper, your heart clearer. This is sacred retention, not suppression. You're not denying your sexuality, you're reactivating its original purpose: to awaken, to empower, to align with something greater than lust. Meditation helps, but only when it's embodied, not escapism. Try breathwork, focused movement, or even cold exposure. Yes, cold. Taking cold showers or ice baths can feel like torture at first, but they retrain your nervous system. They teach you to stay calm under pressure, to face discomfort instead of escaping it. This breaks the porn habit at the root by replacing impulsive pleasure with conscious power. Each time you breathe through the cold instead of running from it, you're building presence, willpower, and real energetic strength. This is why real spiritual growth demands honesty, not performance. You don't raise your vibration by pretending to be pure. You raise it by doing the work, facing your cravings, observing your patterns, and transmuting that energy into clarity and power. And no, it's not easy. You'll relapse, you'll forget. But each conscious return to presence is victory. Each moment you reclaim your energy, you shift your entire trajectory. The illusion of porn is that it gives you something. The truth is, it takes. It takes your attention, your drive, your divine fire. But when you begin to retain that energy, something miraculous happens. You become magnetic again. You become focused. You start to see life not as something to consume, but something to co-create. This is sacred power. And if you're feeling this, if something in you knows it's time to rise, subscribe, stay with this channel, and let's keep reclaiming what's ours. You were never meant to numb your power. You were meant to channel it. Your sexual energy isn't your enemy. It's your potential, your creative fire, your link to the divine. The issue is never the desire. It's the direction. Porn takes that sacred current and reroutes it into fantasy. But when you take that current back, when you redirect it toward presence, creativity, and purpose, you become dangerous to the illusions that bind you. This isn't about shame. It's about sovereignty. You reclaim your time, your clarity, your magnetism. You stop outsourcing your pleasure and bring it home. You stop scattering and start integrating. This path isn't easy, but it's sacred. And if you've made it this far in the video, you already feel it. Something in you is ready, not to be perfect, but to be powerful. The real you isn't buried. It's waiting beneath the noise, and now you have the tools to return. Porn doesn't just affect your energy, it affects your self-image. Over time, watching porn shapes how you see yourself. You don't just consume it, you start comparing. You absorb unrealistic ideas of how you should look, act, or perform, and without realizing it, you begin to feel inadequate. Not because sex is wrong, but because your natural sexuality has been distorted by fantasy. That's the hidden trap. Porn disconnects you from your true sexual essence. It teaches you to watch instead of feel, to fantasize instead of connect. It feeds your shadow, the part of you that feels shame, fear, or unworthiness. And when that shadow stays unconscious, it silently controls your behavior. Real healing begins when you bring light to that darkness. When you look at your cravings with curiosity, not guilt. This isn't about being perfect, it's about understanding yourself and reclaiming your energy from a system that profits off your disconnection. What if the harmless habit you've been defending is actually the reason you feel empty inside?